This is my old Carhartt J97 Detroit Jacket. Now this jacket here has been with me through my days as a mechanic and a tow truck driver, through my first day as an apprentice, and on through my career. And it really, aside from a few, scrapes and scratches and, some fraying here and there, it's really actually no worse for the wear. Now, this has been something that has come with me throughout this journey because in a lot of ways it's perfect, okay? The shorter hem means that it works well with a tool belt, the kind of classic look to it, the fact that it's not so heavy that you can't wear it when it's a fall day or a spring day. In a lot of ways, it's just the perfect work jacket. Now, before I continue, I just really quick want to thank new subscribers, Eric Moody, Christopher Johnson, and Aaron Schmid. Thank you so much for your support. So recently, Carhartt redesigned the Detroit Jacket entirely from top down. And you can tell this is brand new. I haven't even really had a chance to even put this on yet, but I got it for the purposes of this video to sort of talk about the differences between the new one and my old J97. Now, the Detroit Jacket, until I started researching it, I didn't realize how long it's been around. It's been around for a long time. So depending on which version you have, there could be a lot of differences. Matter of fact, I have another J97 here I'm going to show you in a little bit, which differs from my J97. So even within the same model number, there are variations. The Detroit Jacket is wonderfully simple and effective, and it's one of the few workwear items which has been embraced by the men's style community as well as workers across the world. Thanks in part to its prominent appearance in the movie Interstellar, and there's actually a whole subreddit dedicated to this particular jacket and which version it is. However, back in 1954, before Matthew McConaughey was even born, this jacket was known as simply the zipper jacket. To that point, Carhartt had mostly produced jackets with snaps or buttons like the chore coat. The zipper was what set this model apart, and the very first versions were actually denim. The famous Carhartt duck would come a year later in 1955. One of the distinguishing characteristics of the Detroit Jacket is the Detroit cuff, which has this really pleasing arch, but actually, the first models, they only had a plain straight cuff. Through the years, the zipper jacket would see a variety of insulations and linings, with the earliest being a blanket lining from Troy Mills. It would later go on to be quilt-lined and even lined in something called Scott foam, which was an experimental and short-lived foam lining. The zipper jacket wouldn't become known as the Detroit Jacket until 1998, nearly 45 years after its introduction, and rumor has it that the name was actually adopted from the Carhartt Work in Progress line. As you'd imagine, a jacket with a 67-year-long history has gone through several updates, with my favorite still being the USA-made J97 model. Now, these are available secondhand and are what comes to my mind when I hear the words Carhartt jacket. These have a blanket-lined body with quilt-lined sleeves. They were generously cut and work very well with a hoodie or a sweatshirt underneath for layering. Now, some people don't care for the short hem of the early Detroit jackets, but for me, I found that they function especially well when you're actually doing work in them, as I mentioned earlier with my tool belt. And there are only 3 exterior pockets and 1 interior pocket. These early J97 Detroit jackets did have their drawbacks, however, and if you wore one casually, you probably didn't like the scratchy blanket lining, which was designed more with durability in mind. The sleeves were also really wide, which does help with layering, but definitely isn't a modern look compared to the high armhole jackets of today. Finally, there's the length, which is more like an old school trucker jacket than the longer hems we see on modern day jackets. So Carhartt redesigned the Detroit Jacket recently to address some of the concerns and give it a more updated look. The sleeves are narrower, not slim cut by any means, but there's definitely a difference between these and the older versions. The lining is a softer blanket material, which is actually quite nice against your skin. Probably the biggest and most controversial difference, though, is the hem. It's longer and it features a drop tail for coverage while bending over. Critics of the new Detroit Jacket say that it lost some of its charm with the new length, and that iconic silhouette is gone now. I actually reached out to Carhartt to find out more about this decision, and they told me that people would regularly order the long version of the previous model because they didn't like the shorter length. So based on the feedback that they were getting, the jacket was lengthened. You'll also find features from their full swing designs, like the elbows and the shoulder gussets, so it actually wears and moves easier too. One of the things that they changed, which I don't like, is the elimination of the Detroit cuff in favor of a straight cuff. Now, to me, this was one of the signature design characteristics and one that really completed the look, but I guess if we're actually looking at history, the original didn't have the Detroit cuff either. So it was probably a cost-saving measure since sewing a straight cuff is probably simpler, but I kind of missed the Detroit cuff. Now, overall, I would say that their updates actually make for a more functional jacket, which is probably better overall. And I would love to see this particular model in a sandstone version like this one here. Now, this is actually a new old stock J97 in their sandstone finish, which is kind of like what you get if you take the traditional duck and just wear it for a bunch. Now, like I mentioned, this guy here is probably close to 15 years old, and it looks like a sandstone jacket, even though it actually began as a regular, duck canvas jacket. Just wearing it and working in it gives you that look. If you want to sort of fast forward, then that's what the sandstone is like. Although I've heard that they're actually going to be kind of eliminating some of the sandstone things from their line, which is too bad if that's actually a true rumor. One of the things that I forgot to mention, because I'm looking at it right now, underneath the collar of the old J97s and the old Detroit jackets, you couldn't attach a hood. However, on the new one, you can. There are snaps here so you can actually attach a hood to the jacket. Now, once upon a time, the old Detroit jackets had a different model with a different name, which actually had a hood on it. But it's nice that you can convert this one to have a hood or not, or remove it if you don't need it. Overall, I think they did a really nice job on modernizing the Detroit jacket. The Carhartt Detroit Jacket can be yours for $90, and it comes in Carhartt brown, dark blue, and black. And one of the things that Carhartt has always done well is offering a good value proposition. They price their products at a point where you know you're getting good quality, but they're not outlandish, and you're not afraid to actually work in them. Now, that being said, $90, somewhere around $100 for this jacket, it is worthwhile to look at some competitive options. Hey, real quick, did you see the video where I actually went to a Carhartt factory in Kentucky? Well, if not, go ahead here and click and check it out, because I'm really proud of that video. I think it came out awesome, and it was a blast to do. So let me know what you think. First up is the insulated Eisenhower jacket from Dickies. Now, this comes in at $70, and it actually looks a lot like the Detroit jacket, except for it doesn't have a chest pocket. Now, this may appeal more to you because, number one, it's a little bit cheaper, but it also comes in a bunch of other colors, including camouflage. So if that's more your bag and you're actually a Dickies fan, then this might be worth looking at. Next up, for $179, is the Patagonia Workwear Iron Forge Hemp Canvas Ranch Jacket. Now, I actually have one of these, and it's a slightly different style, especially with those exposed pockets on the outside. That being said, it's actually a very nice jacket, but it is double the price, essentially. So if you really, really like it, that's great. Or you could get two Carhartt Detroit jackets, and in my opinion, especially for the working man, it's worth getting the cheaper option here. Finally, from Tough Duck is their men's chore jacket. Now, this looks very much like the Detroit jacket, except for it's the Tough Duck version, and it comes in between $70 and $80. I've seen these at Tractor Supply, and they look like a really cool option. So if maybe this is more your style, or it's something you can get access to, I don't think it's a bad option at all. So anyway, guys, that is the Carhartt Detroit Jacket. And I really do think that this is one of those jackets where even if you don't work in construction or on a farm or anything like that, that it should be in your closet. Because it's a jacket that you could throw on to do just about anything. I've worn this thing plenty in the winter with a hoodie underneath, and it's kept me warm. It's a great transitional piece as well. It can work well in those, spring or fall months where things aren't that cold. Maybe they warm it during the day and then they're a little chilly in the morning. But it's great to do any kind of chore around your house. I just think it's one of those jackets it fits that need so perfectly that there's really no need to change it. It's basically perfect. That being said, they did modernize it and update it, which is pretty cool. And I know this is polarizing. Of course, I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comment section below. Do you like the old version? Do you like the new version? Please let me know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.